following is a production of peanutbutterdisaster.com and may contain views and language not suitable for all listeners. Audience discretion is advised. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Smark My Words, Peanut Butter Disaster's premier wrestling podcast. I'm KiraKennedy alongside my broadcast colleagues, me, Maggle Keen, and Tex Rockwolf, and we're going to kind of start this show on a somber note because, well, everyone's heard the news by now, the passing of Joanie Laurer, aka the former Chyna.
Yes, it does not, I'm not currently in a mood to banter like JBL at either of you. Doesn't seem right.
No, not yet, at least.
Not yet. We'll get to that. We got to get this. We got to get through this here. It's this is one of like the modern tragedies of WWE. This is we're gonna see things kind of snowball here for the rest of the year. I think we're gonna see a little bit more like company recognition of her, I would hope, and the legacy that she left behind. It seems basically a lot of backroom politics and some choices people have made. Well, and what people have chose to do with themselves after leaving the ring. But call me a sympathetic guy, but I kind of felt like despite being involving herself in adult entertainment and having her substance abuse problems and so forth, that caused friction with her in the company. The company had not always been as supportive as perhaps it should have been to her, as the argument could be made with many of the former superstars.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing that pisses me off about this the most is they waited and, for one thing, it took her dying to get this recognition, but their rationale for not mentioning her, the fact that she does porn, when you have Sunny, who's in the Hall of Fame, who regularly moonlights as a cam girl.
Well, there's a difference there. I mean, I see, and I still think it's fucked up, but I see where the WWE as a publicly traded company is coming from when they don't want people to, Google, or kids to Google Chyna, and then, oh, She-Hulk the movie? I want to watch that. It does have a certain, there is a problem inherent in that. Now, did she need to be completely shoved aside? No. Was her initial leaving or firing really any less fucked up? No. But I sympathize with the problem that WWE has. I don't agree with them. I think that she deserves so much more. I was really looking forward to the day when they would finally put all this bullshit aside and bring her back for some, one of those special little runs that they give these sort of, late in the game superstars. And that's never going to happen now, which, is a tragedy. And the fact that she didn't get a 10-bell salute, that it was just a little fucking card and a small video package, it hurts a little, but it's a really tough situation from a business standpoint.
Yeah, for sure. I can see where you're coming from on that. Now, here, the thing about me, personally, when it comes to Chyna, I only ever watched one of her matches when I was a kid, and that was a handicap match between her against the Stooges, Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe. But when I was a little older, I looked up her storyline with Eddie Guerrero, and that was, to me, like one of my favorite storylines she'd ever been involved with, because she got to show a whole lot of personality. And Eddie Guerrero really, well, I know I'm talking about Eddie now, but it's like just they really seem to click in that, I think.
Yeah, Oh, go ahead, Tex.
No, I mean I've been actually in some of my leisure time, I've been going back and watching late 90s, early 2000s WWF, and It's really interesting, just kind of seeing what kind of dynamics she really had back there in the prime of that era. I mean, people think about like DX and they think, of course, Sean and Trips, but Chyna was a founding member of DX as well. She was there from the beginning, and I mean, it's just. To see like so back in the heyday, well, she was doing her business, and she was like feuding with Jericho and like partnering with Jericho, and they like were the co-champion of the Intercontinental belt for a short stint, and just kind of how things kind of turned around on them. It was some good stuff. I mean, she was she was a lady superstar who was able to really hang, and wrestle and make it look good and interesting and have fun. And I mean, that's something we don't have now. And I don't know, I know that they're very against, mixed gender, wrestling at this point, from what I've read. But, so this, she might occupy this slot as, being this person who, represented that time in their industry and in their company, because it might never happen again.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I went back and I watched a couple matches of hers, some of the more notable ones, and there were criticisms to be had for booking. Like I think her winning the Intercontinental from Jeff Jarrett, a little sexist of a setup, but I did like her turning the tables on him. The finish is a little dirty, but it was, you watched these old matches with her, the beginning of her women's championship against Ivory, and even if the match itself is not booked particularly well, her ability to just get in there and be this domineering force, that was, let's be honest, a bit masculine, and really showing what a women's champ could be. I mean, there's probably never going to be anyone quite like Chyna ever again. And, on one hand, there are certain regulations that stop someone like Chyna from being a part of the world of wrestling, physique-wise. But, it definitely is something that will be missed. The fact that we won't get that type of female wrestler again, more than likely. I know that there was, I'm not good with TNA specific wrestlers, but there's this one woman who was just huge, just a naturally huge woman on there.
Awesome Kong.
Sure.
Although Chyna did have a brief stint in TNA as well.
Yeah, her very brief stint. But so, every so often you get someone kind of like her, but I don't think you'll ever get anyone exactly like Chyna. Chyna was a very special wrestler, and it makes me sad that we only got that little kind of brief glimpse during the Attitude Era, and then now it's gone forever, and that the news hit me hard when I heard, like every tragedy, it was my fiance Casey coming up and telling me that news was developing, and I'm just starting to associate her with the worst fucking things in the world, because this has just been another big hit in 2016 that, I do think that the, go home 2016, you're drunk stuff is, a little presumption, or a little misguided, because every year a lot of celebrities die, a lot of important people die, a lot of people die, period. But this year has been really weird for like iconic people. My personal favorite musician of all time, David Bowie, died at the beginning of the year, and that was just a horrendous way to start it. And now one of the wrestlers that I knew of the most in my childhood, the one that really stuck out as like the female wrestler out there, gone as well. And it's weird to have these people who are larger than life, like Chyna, like David Bowie, like Prince, all these fucking people, just be gone. It's usually one of those things that happens, every so often, but this year it's just been boom, 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 boom. And, it makes me sad, that she's gone. And yeah, that's kind of my whole spiel. I don't really know how to put it exactly.
Yeah, I know everyone's been kind of saying this stuff, but yeah, Chyna was really just kind of one of those real trailblazers in the WWE. She was the first woman to hold a men's championship. She was the first in a line of women to actually compete in the Royal Rumble, and that's just, especially like you said with the WWE's zero tolerance on with man on woman violence. Well, I won't say zero tolerance because it's happened occasionally by accident. I'm doing air quotes again, but it's very unlikely to happen again anytime soon. And that kind of,
it's a bunch of sexist bullshit. I'll be the first one to go the funny route. Fuck them, bunch of corporate stooges up in fucking Fuckville, Connecticut.
Mm-hmm. Fucking IRS making calls like this. Fuck him.
And his kids.
And his kids. Nah, they're already fucked enough.
All right, now that we're off of the serious note, let's get to the main thing we're going to be talking about this week. With
Chikara?
Payback,
We're going to talk about Chikara, right? Is that what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about some, like, Chikara.
Week, right?
Yeah, right? That's what we're going to talk about,
we're
right?
Talking about the ant colony?
Unfortunately, no. We have a pay-per-view coming up this Sunday. It is Payback, live on the WWE Network. And, as always, we are going to give you our predictions. Although, I'm not going to lie here, it kind of seems pretty predictable, with the exception of maybe 3 matches on what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm looking at the betting odds right now, which I guess is a cheat way of doing it, but it was the first thing I could find with the actual card. And yeah, it seems like folks have this pretty figured out for the most part. It's not anything too crazy, but there's at very least some interesting matches on the card. So I'm not excited.
Yeah. Well, let's get into our actual predictions now. We'll start off with the pre-show. In their WrestleMania rematch is Kalisto versus the Ryback for the United States Championship. And as much as it sickens me to say this, I think the Ryback's going, oh! Sorry, just threw up in my mouth a little having to say that. But it makes more sense, because Kalisto's not doing anything with the U.S. title. And, again, it just makes more sense to put it on the Ryback.
I agree. I think even as a storytelling element, it makes sense. He needs that title taken away from him to increase the drama. Ryback needs a push, especially with his, I guess, new branding. I haven't really seen him much recently. But yeah, I would agree that the Ryback is probably going over on this one. I don't know exactly what their plans are with Kalisto, but I wouldn't be surprised if this was brought back up at a later date, or if they just transition to another superstar getting the belt from Ryback, who seems like a transitionary holder anyway.
I think we all thought Kalisto was going to be a transitional champion anyways.
I took his push as genuine when it came about. He seems like a guy who they really need to be pushing, because they need to find that Hispanic, let's say Hispanic heat.
Could you say Latino heat?
See, I was trying to be like kind of subversive. Never mind.
Yeah. Well, that's what you get for trying to be subversive.
Yeah, fucking Canadians.
All right, well, Tex, your predictions for this match, or are you pretty much on the same boat as me and Mike?
Yeah, I just do not see Kalisto going again. I mean, it's not like this is like a heated thing. It's not like it's, I would guess that Ryback's gonna walk away with the belt, and then Kalisto's gonna want it back, because now they've had that would be 2 contentions for the belt, one of them where it was defended, one where it wasn't. Callista's going to have his fucking rubber match contract bullshit anyway, so, then we're going to see really whether speed and agility can overcome strength and size. And it's, they're setting it up for the next pay-per-view, I would guess. I don't know, but I don't care. I didn't care when it was WrestleMania. I didn't care when it was on the grandest stage of all. I don't see why I would care when it's on a 2-bit fucking pay-per-view like Payback.
Oh, yeah, well, it is what it is. From there, we move on to the next match, which I'm just going randomly on the list, on the card list I have here. Dolph Ziggler versus Baron Corbin, and it doesn't make any sense to go any other way than Baron Corbin going over. Because Ziggler, yes, he could use a win, but him winning over Corbin will kill any momentum Corbin has.
Isn't that what the WWE does?
Yes, but it's too soon.
Yeah, I agree. I'm seeing some stuff on the sheets here about Baron Corbin being or Dolph Ziggler being the favorite to win. And I don't see that making much sense at all, since Baron Corbin, I assume, is he a heel right now? I have yet to see a single match on either show of him.
In NXT, he was a heel who had a beef with indie wrestlers. Like, every single one of his feuds were with guys like Samoa Joe, Austin Aries.
Oh yeah, I know how he was in NXT. I wasn't sure what exactly they were going with here. I assumed it was the same exact thing, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
But I wasn't. I have not seen any of this feud develop. I assume this is the stuff that was cut from Raw, Hulu, or was on SmackDown.
You really haven't been missing much, because their first match ended in a double countout. There was no second match, and then the catalyst for this feud was Ziggler trying to blindside Corbin when he was going out for a match with Sandow this past week on Raw.
Huh. Well, that's dumb. I think this is probably going to be something. I don't know. They might, if this is a feud they're actually trying to, get over. I could see this maybe going on to Extreme Rules, with maybe Ziggles trying to come out on top. I don't know. But yeah, I would say Baron Corbin's probably going to win, or at least he should win, because he is the hot new talent. And he needs to be built up as a monstrous force. Of course, I say that. Bray Wyatt is supposed to be built up as a monstrous force, and that's coming out about as well as most monstrous forces these days. So, fuck it. Baron Corbin wins, because I hope that they have a brain.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I mean, you guys know that there's no logical reason why Dolph Ziggler would win this feud.
So, of course, Dolph Ziggler would win this feud.
So, of course, Dolph Ziggler is going to win this. And it's going to actually be the beginning of an ongoing feud with this guy. And they can have, leather jacket offs. And they can, fight with blades or something in the boiler room. I don't know. But they can compete. And it'll be a thing. Because... maybe some of Dolph Ziggler's amazing personality they're hoping is going to rub off on, the bland wonder Baron Corbin.
I don't know. Corbin has slightly more personality than Roman Reigns.
Well, that's not saying much.
Oh, look, they drew a line on a piece of paper.
I'm not a good guy. I'm not a bad guy. I'm just a guy. Fucking asshole. He comes out there with his fucking shitty smirk on his face, saying that week after week, night after night. Tell you what.
It's a world-class catchphrase.
It's right up there with generator. Austin 316, and if you smell what The Rock is cooking, and you can't see me.
I really hope that they stick kind of with Baron Corbin's NXT gimmick, where he just fucking annihilates everybody that comes into his path, but it's sounding like that's not exactly what's been happening on the show. Wow. So...
I would love it to be how it was when he first debuted, where people were literally counting the seconds it took for him to win a match.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest Baron Corbin fan in the world. I think that he needs to put a fucking shirt on. And I think that, he doesn't have the greatest personality per se, but he has a good
I like to collect animal skulls. That's fucking interesting, right? That's a really weird, kooky like crazy weird guy thing to be into, right?
So he's related to Braun Strowman?
I like his kind of punk aesthetic. But yeah, I mean, he's not the best, but he seems like he could make a pretty good heel. I say that he's made a pretty good heel, and it'd be nice if he did some dominating for a while, just to get him over with the fans and to show that he is someone to worry about. Does he wear a shirt at all in the new in his right now, or is he still shirtless?
Not when he's wrestling.
Okay. No. Again, I haven't seen shit, so I don't know. But I'm hoping that they put him over just because it's necessary. That said, I am a huge Dolph Ziggler fan, so I would like to see Ziggles come on top of this feud. I just don't think it's right for Ziggles to win this match. I think that if they stretch it out to Extreme Rules and make that be their big thing, have him, just in a fucking, boiler room or gymnasium match, or fucking you only get to wrestle on top of a desk from a third grader's classroom match, whatever Extreme Rules they want to have. I think that's where Ziggles should go over. But for now, Corbin needs to go over, and I hope he does.
Just a little tangent, actually. I finally figured out why it is I think Dolph Ziggler's overrated. I liked him better as a heel. I don't like him as a face for whatever reason. It just seems disingenuous.
I mean, he's better as a heel. I mean, it's literally in his Twitter account. I mean, he's better as a heel. That's just true. But I always love him. He's just fun. And let's not forget, Face Ziggler got that massive Survivor Series push 2 years ago?
That lasted all of 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, okay, but at the time it was great.
Fair enough. Tex, did you give your predictions for this match yet?
Yeah, he said Corbin was going over.
Corbin, right, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyways.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Well, I did joke for a little bit that Ziggs was going to somehow walk out of it because it was the nonsensical thing to happen, but no,
right.
It's got to be Corbs.
Right,
Ziggs
okay.
and Corbs. I'm just going to shorten everybody's names.
Ziggles versus Corbs.
I love Ziggles, dude. That's the best.
Alright, so from one NXT call-up, we move on to 4 more. It is the finals of the number one contenders tag team tournament for the WWE Tag Team Championships, sponsored by Bootios, Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy versus the Vaudevillains. And as much as I like Enzo and Cass, as much as I want them to win, it makes more sense for the Vaudevillains to go over here because they're the heels in this feud. Unless they're planning on turning the New Day heel again, it just makes more sense.
Fuck you. My name is Enzo Amore, and I'm going over as fuck, and you can't teach that. Yeah, the Enzo and Cass are gonna win. Fuck you.
You're forgetting something, though.
What?
There's still a possibility of an ongoing feud with the Dudleys, so the Dudleys could come in and interfere and cost them the match.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But I'm gonna stick with this one. The Vaudevillains, who I do love, don't get me wrong, I feel like they're gonna go the way of Neville pretty fast. I think they might be a bit too wacky for Vince McMahon, which is a weird thing to say. I would like to see them given the shot. I don't see it happening, despite the Dudley feud. I think Enzo and Big Cass are going to be the ones facing off with the New Day. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if that Dudley feud hampered that fight and cost them the win against New Day. But I don't know. I don't see that happening.
I wouldn't be against an Enzo and Cass win. I'd be happy either way. I just personally think, storyline-wise, it makes more sense for the Vaudevillains to go over.
As for me, I think that, the classic Enzo and Cass being way cool, being way over, and being jobby as fuck is going to continue on the main roster. They're losing, boys. Enzo and Cass are losing, and it's not because I want them to. It's because that's who they are, and that's how it happens.
Yeah, that's kind of sad, because they literally have the crowd eating out of the palm of their hands every single time they come out there, and that's a rare thing these days.
I think they're gonna win.
I hope that I'm wrong. for your sake, Michael.
Well, Mike, if you're right, you may take over as permanent host of Smark My Words.
Oh yeah, awesome. I'm gonna be a host man. I'm gonna be like, hey, this is the podcast, and I am your host, and these are my minions. And I'll be like, hey minions, get me some tea while I host this bitch. And that is gonna be my host rainership.
Alright, let's move on from here.
Suck it.
Up next, we have a match that I'm glad it's happening, but I have no idea which way it's gonna go because I don't want either of them to lose. Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens.
Oh boy. Kevin Owens is going over.
You know what? Yeah, that actually makes sense because Sami Zayn loses all of his big matches. He's very much like Enzo and Cass.
Absolutely. Over as fuck, nice and facey, everyone likes them, positive attitude, but he's got to get dicked for a good long while. I hate to completely agree with that reasoning that I put forward already, but yeah, it's a lock, man. Kevin Owens is going over on this one.
That's the only reason you can explain Chris Jericho of all people going over Zayn, because Jericho does not need the friggin' win.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I mean, it would make sense in a payback match for Zayn to go over story-wise, but this is also not going to be the biggest pay-per-view because it's payback and no one cares. Extreme Rules, meanwhile, is a bigger show, and I think if they could, they'd probably stretch this out to Money in the Bank. They might even do that, but I think that this is going to be another match that kind of segues into Extreme Rules, and we're probably going to get a culmination there, or they might let it hibernate for a bit and bring it back for Money in the Bank. I don't know, but this seems like the kind of thing that would take a while to actually. I mean, it's Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. It's a classic feud, and if the writers are smart, they're going to kind of elongate it for as much as possible.
That's the problem. The writers aren't smart.
They're not the dumbest people in the world. They're just dealing with Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, and Bucky Beaver. So, I think that, and this, I keep giving creative so much credit in this show. I don't know why. That's just the heel in me coming out, I guess. But I'm gonna say Kevin Owens wins here, but Sami Zayn, he's gonna go over sooner rather than later, just not this night.
Yeah, as much as I'm a huge mark for Sami Zayn, given the way he's been booked, even in NXT, it would make sense for Kevin Owens to go over, even by stoppage, like their NXT Championship matches.
Tex, your thoughts?
I just can't. I just don't. No
So can we chalk you up for Kevin Owens as well?
Yeah, put me back on for Kevin. That's fine. Like I said, I mean, it's
Is that why you were gone? You were on Kevin the whole time?
My mouth was on his dick. You know it, buddy. Love you, Kevin. I know you're listening, baby. It's fine.
And he just blocked you on Twitter.
Well, he did, too. I wish. Dude, I would feel honored if Kevin blocked me on Twitter.
Bears.
Oh, speaking of bears, we have the recent victim of a bear attack, Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho. The bear, of course, being Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. Don't remind me of that fucking match.
Batter up, bitch.
Yeah, Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho.
As much as I hate to say it, Jericho's winning. Because that's how they are. They always dick Dean Ambrose over.
You know what? I'm going to be contrarian again. I'm going to say Dean Ambrose just for the fuck of it.
I'll be happy if he wins, but it's going to be Jericho.
He has the worst odds out of this entire. This is on WrestleZone where I'm seeing these betting odds for Payback, and like there's some pretty like low let's see what's one we've talked about. Like the Vaudevillains have negative 400 versus the plus 280 on Enzo and Cass. And Dean Ambrose, minus 705. And Chris Jericho up 435. I think Dean Ambrose has a shot at this. Now, my previous logic of this being a bullshit pay-per-view that's really only there to lead to the next pay-per-view would dictate that Chris Jericho would go over, and this would lead to another match another time where Dean could potentially go over. I just want my boy to win, guys. I just want my boy to win. Las Vegas represent.
Ambrose is from Ohio.
Yeah, but he lives in Vegas, fucknuts.
Okay, sorry. My bad. Yeah, the thing about Ambrose is, again, every time you think he's going to win, then he gets his head kicked through cinder blocks.
That was a long time ago.
Alright, fair enough. Tex?
I guess when it comes to Dean Ambrose, my previous irrational hatred of him, based on his stupid flippy rope garbage and his unlikely friendship with Roman Reigns.
Friendship. He's Roman's whipping bitch.
Well, no, they're brothers. They're brothers. Remember, we need to remind everybody that they're like brothers. They're brothers in arms. We'll use that. We'll call them a band of brothers, maybe. I don't know. No, my irrational hatred of Dean Ambrose is fading. Again, reason and logic would say that who needs the win here? Chris Jericho? No. Chris Jericho doesn't need a fucking win. Deanie's been kind of eating shit for a few pay-per-views in a row here. So, I'm gonna side with Michael on this one and say that I hope that Dean gets his just desserts.
Fair enough. I just don't want to be in a situation again where I'm yelling at my TV because I was horribly wrong, and I have nothing against. I would not be against Ambrose winning. In fact, I would be happier if Ambrose won. But just the way the WWE's been going, especially after Mania, it just seems like this is going to be a Jericho win.
That only makes sense.
Yeah.
But fuck sense.
Yes.
That's what I say.
Yes.
Bunch of cunts.
All right. Up next, we have the WWE Women's Championship match. Charlotte takes on Natalya with each of their family members in representing in their corners. So obviously, Daddy Flair is in Charlotte's corner, and Uncle Brett's in Natalya's corner. I think it's going to end the same way all of Charlotte's title defenses will end. Daddy Flair interferes. Charlotte wins off the cheap shot.
You know what? I'm actually going to give a specific here, and hopefully it works like my specific in WrestleMania. But I'm willing to bet that Flair, of course, is going to try and interrupt the match and cost Natty the win. However, Bret Hart, in a very maudlin mood, will put Ric Flair in a sharpshooter, a very ginger sharpshooter, and he'll look bored doing it, possibly even angry. And then Natty will go over on Charlotte and pick up the championship, probably only to lose it at Extreme Rules or maybe even Money in the Bank, but she'll lose it sooner rather than later. She's not, unless they've changed their minds on Natty, she's not going to be anything more than transitionary. Or transitional. But I'm going to say that Natty's going to go over on this one.
I would say, since for some reason I like being extra specific with this one, I would say that Natty is going to get disqualified in this match because Daddy Flair is going to be doing a bunch of completely unreasonable nonsense. It's going to be ludicrous that he's not been, thrown out or thrown away from ringside or whatever up to that point. And he's just going to keep on, getting away with it. And then Brett's going to, he's going to be done. He's going to have enough of this and he's going to interfere and the ref's going to see it immediately and he's going to throw Natalie out. It's going to be, it'll be a DQ. And then on the previous night's Raw, JBL will be talking about how Brett screwed Natty.
You mean the preceding You said previous.
I thought I said the following, but yeah, the preceding. But yes, on the next episode of Raw, JBL will be talking about how, just like before, when Brett screwed Brett screwed Natty this time. And
that's a good one. I see that, yeah. I'm still going to go with Natty, but yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
Fair enough. So we have surprisingly, three different predictions for how this one will go. I think that's a first for a singles match on this show.
We're breaking the mold.
All right.
Like
So
Dolph Ziggler.
Yep. Ziggler. All right. Up next, we have the Intercontinental Championship match. The Miz takes on Cesaro with his weird James Bond transporter gimmick.
I love it.
Yeah, I really do love the tear-off business suit. The whole, like, looking down the gun barrel, like, screen behind him. It's too on the nose as a James Bond thing.
Although he looks a lot like Jason Statham.
Yes. Absolutely. He's kind of going for that thing a little bit too. I like this gimmick better than the leftovers of the Kid Cesaro team up. So I mean, I'm happy for him, and people seem to be responding to him even against whatever has been said about how because he's not from the United States, he'll never connect with the audiences.
Yes, he's totally not. He totally didn't connect the night he made his surprise return, and they almost blew the roof off the fucking building.
I don't understand why he's considered such an unlikely hero among the people when, Americans, we love... Okay, he's the Swiss Superman, right?
Yeah.
We love Superman, and we love Swiss rolls. So why wouldn't we love Cesaro? That's all I'm saying. Also, Cesaro's winning because... Why is The Miz gonna win? Come on, guys.
Yeah, no, it makes no sense for The Miz to go over here, because it's the fucking Miz.
Yeah, I mean, there's...
The worst I can see is Maryse interferes, and it's a DQ win for Cesaro, meaning they extend it to Extreme Rules at the very least.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, The Miz, gets over on him via her interfering. The ref doesn't see it or some bullshit. But, yeah, unless it's a screwy finish of some kind, Cesaro wins and is getting the championship and is getting a new push.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys don't think that this is going to be a sustained Miz push? I mean, I thought the time had come around. I mean, they've definitely not been, like, systematically disrespecting him for years and making him look like more and more of a joke as time has gone on. I mean, I thought things were going to be turning around here for once.
Yeah, I'm as shocked as you are, but it's pretty clear if Cesaro doesn't go over here, it's going to be a screwy finish.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm guessing it's going to go that way. I'm guessing that Maryse is gonna interfere or gonna fuck around in some way. That's kind of her whole deal. So I wouldn't be surprised. I'll throw my vote behind the screwy. They're the dirty finish.
The dusty finish, you mean, if you will?
Yes, sure, dusty finish.
All right. Well, we now come to our main event. WWE World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns taking on the phenomenal AJ Styles. And I have an interesting prediction on on what I think will happen here, but I'd like to hear yours first.
Okay. Well, obviously we know who I want to win. That's pretty obvious.
Roman?
Oh yeah, I'm a huge Roman mark.
Your fellow Pensacola man?
Fuck you cunt. Yeah, so yeah, no, AJ Styles is my number one. I love AJ Styles. He's great. Love his accent. And I think if they're smart, they would just fucking give it to him. But this is not a pay-per-view, unless they're trying to elevate it, where the World Heavyweight Champion is gonna lose his championship right after finally getting it after, as far as storyline goes,
finally
being screwed out of it.
Time.
Yeah, I mean, he's been screwed out of it so many times in kayfabe that there's no way they're not going to give him couple months with the fucking championship. There's just no way. He's keeping that strap for a little while. And AJ's, I guess, kind of the heel in this scenario, like the accidental heel, the whoops-a-daisy heel. I don't know. But unless they do something, well, no, I can't see any way that the WWE would let AJ Styles go over this early in the game. I wouldn't be surprised, however, if this went all the way to Money in the Bank and he winds up capturing the title or someone else captures it, but most likely AJ Styles captures it at Money in the Bank. That seems like a good idea. Or something screwy happens, AJ gets it here, which is the least likely scenario in my book, and then it becomes kind of a storyline for Roman to get it back at Money in the Bank or some bullshit. But that seems really out there. I'm going to go with Roman Reigns, as much as it pains me to say it. He's going over on this one.
Yep. Okay, Tix?
I say, again, I gotta tell you guys, I gotta go with I have a storytelling sense about things, okay? So I know what it would take to be, a part of a good story. And then I usually throw that opinion away because I know that it's not going to matter.
So you're WWE creative.
Right. So, what I'm thinking is, because it's the most obvious and hackneyed thing that they could do, I think that what they're probably going to do is they're going to have AJ Styles go over with Anderson and Gallows giving him a hand in doing so, and then he's going to reveal, swerved ya, I am totally an asshole, and this is the Bullet Club now. And they're going to pull the trigger on the Bullet Club. Boom, boom, Bullet Club.
I see what you did there.
Oh.
I could see that. That'd be pretty cool.
Actually, the funny thing is, my prediction is kind of similar, but kind of different. Because mine also involves Roman going over, but it also involves Anderson and Gallows. But it involves another. One who recently lost his championship. Yes, see, the way I see it, the mechanics will... No, it's going to be Finn Balor making a surprise debut, coming in with Anderson and Gallows, screwing AJ, and that leads to an AJ versus Finn Balor feud. Maybe even an AJ versus Bullet Club feud.
I had totally forgotten about Finn Balor losing the championship. Yeah, that actually is a really good prediction. And we know that WWE likes weird cliffhangery endings to pay-per-views. So, I mean, yeah, that's the first smart thing you've said in months, Kira.
Well, it had to happen eventually.
Yeah, you two coming together in harmony over some idea. I think it's time I mosey on out of this podcast, because these are the end of days.
Baron Corbin's here?
Oh, God.
Alright, well, with that all out of the... Unless you guys want to talk about the promo segment that's going to happen, which I really don't think it's really going to matter here. Basically, they announced on Raw this week that Vince McMahon's going to be at the pay-per-view, and he's going to be announcing whether Shane or Stephanie will be in control of Raw for good.
Oh, that's going to be, hopefully, a really weird, crazy event, I hope. But I have no idea.
Like
what
Shane's actually the father of Stephanie's kids?
Oh, my God. Yes, I had a great name for it, and then I lost the word. Oh, well.
Well, on that awkward note, if you guys would like to follow me on social media, I am on Twitter at KiraKennedyHNR, Tumblr at KiraKennedyHNR.tumblr.com, and of course you can always check out my Facebook page, facebook.com/KiraKennedyReviews.
The incest era. That's what I was thinking of. The incest era. I'm Michael Keene. You can find me on Twitter at Michael Keene. That's Keene. I'm also on Instagram at mbkeene. And then I have a bunch of other bullshit, but it's mostly, I have stuff on peanutbutterdisaster.com bringing you this fine podcast and other fine shows. I'm also going to be rebooting my podcast, my other podcast, my original podcast, Season Pass, TV reviews, original one season or less bullshit show. I'm really good at promoting things. That's me!
And I am the famous Tex Rockwolf, known far and wide as been in the middle of a heel turn on the Squared Circle subreddit for months now. And you can follow me as I occasionally talk about wrestling and occasionally talk about post-apocalyptic video games at TRockwolf at Twitter.
All right. And, of course, if you'd like to follow the show, we are on Twitter at PBDSmark and Facebook, also facebook.com/PBDSmark. Mike covers the Twitter, I cover the Facebook. We talk about wrestling shit. Totally follow us. But, until next time, for Maggle and Tex Rockwolf, I'm Kira Kennedy. This has been Smark My Words, and thank you for listening.
Fuck you, Kira.
Had to get one in.
Hey, did we successfully avoid making a joke about Ric Flair being Charlotte's father?
Smark My Words is hosted by Kira Kennedy, Tex Rockwolf, and Michael Keane. Our opening theme is Temper by LTGrayUltimo, who you can find out more about at facebook.com/L_T_Gray_Ultimo, as well as soundcloud.com/LTGrayUltimo, all one word. Our ending theme is Summon the Rock by Kevin McLeod, who you can find out more about at Incompetech.com. The following has been a production of PeanutButterDisaster.com.
Peanut butter disaster.